Perfect.
What part of yeah, Nicole?
I am in Titusville, so I'm actually right next to the Kennedy Space Center.
How cool. I never went there. I lived and worked in Orlando on Mulan, so I never got out there though.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well,
And
thanks for
I'm
having me.
also,
I'm sorry, I don't
yeah,
want to cut into our time too much, but thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. I'm a huge fan of your work. Huge Disney fan over here, and have to say, by far my favorite character that you worked on was
Oh
Kronk.
yeah.
Just throwing it out
Did you hear Patrick
there.
in the movie Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs? Did you
Yes,
hear him?
yes,
Of
yes.
course.
Um, and I recognized that voice, and I was like, "Hold on a second."
Like an evil
um,
drunk. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so that was one of the questions that I had for you, because I was really interested in the simple fact that you had been with all of these different films. But I also know that you had also been able to voice Stabby in Animal Crackers. And so I was kind of interested in, seeing how the whole transitioning into the voice director was for you versus doing the animation part of
Well, I mean,
things.
Mulan and some of the other movies that I've directed, like Animal Crackers, I largely have worked as a voice director in on those films. I was directing, Eddie Murphy and in Mulan and Ming Na Wen and things like that. And that's largely comes with the territory of being a director on an animated film. You tend to do your own directing of the voice actors,
Hmm.
but then independently and in TV animation, that's a separate role. And so, since this was an independent film and being done in Seoul, Korea, the directors and producers, there's a language barrier there. I think they really wanted somebody that would come in and be able to work with Hollywood actors of this caliber. So, having had that experience, I found out about Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs through a friend of mine who was doing the character designs, and he introduced me to it. And I fell in love with it immediately, not only because of
Hmm.
the look I thought was very sophisticated. It doesn't look like an independent film; it looks like a big studio film.
Hmm.
But I love the story. I love the theme of it. And so I asked them, "Hey, if you need any help," and they were the ones that came up with this idea of we could really use your help doing the voice directing with our American cast. So I was happy to step in and do that for them.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. We saw the film and my kids loved it. So
Oh, good, 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 good.
um yeah, and I guess another question that I had for you is my son is always, doing like different voices and stuff like that. And so
Yeah,
he's always asking me like, what can I do, mom, to kind of, perfect this craft or stuff, because he'll always like grab comic books and he'll pretend to be, doing different things and stuff. And so I was just curious, if you at one point had to, go to school for that, or if it's something that just came natural to you.
well, I haven't. I do it more as like a hobby, I guess you could say. I'm not. I don't really would label myself as a voice actor myself. I work with those that are skilled at it. But I will say that any voice actor would tell you that the acting part is really the most important to learn. That a lot of people can do funny voices. You know, how many of us in the shower will do a foghorn leghorn or a Woody Woodpecker or play with Mickey Mouse every once in a while and
Right.
think they're pretty good at it. There's a lot of people that can do those kind of voices or do voice and fluctuations. But can you act? You know, can you make that character, that voice sound sad or happy or excited or perplexed? And to get the range of emotion really comes from learning to be an actor first. So yeah, the voice is important too, but less so compared to what most people can't do, which is being a good actor.
Right.
So I encourage your son to get into acting classes, actually.
Yeah, yeah, that's next on the list.
Good.
But kind of when you were looking at the whole development of this, were you already kind of like in your mind picturing what type of actor was going to voice this character, or how
Yeah,
did that come to
I
be?
sat with the directors and producers of the film. There was also a casting director that's their specialty is finding people that would be unique that could do certain parts. And they put together the first list, and then we were reacting to that. And out of our wish list for all the different characters, we really got our wish list. It was pretty phenomenal. I think it's largely because the agents and the actors liked the script. They liked the tone of it. They knew where it was going, and it felt, very, commercially viable, I guess you could say. But mostly, I think people were attracted to the theme of the movie being about, positive body image, right? So it's about who you are inside that matters, and not what you look like on the outside. And that was so resonant, particularly with Chloe Grace Moretz. That's a platform for her and her social media, with her fan base. And it became really important to us too, to be able to do a good job with that. So the theme is something that I think really it's going to be the thing that people remember.
Yeah,
about
for sure.
this
It
film.
definitely resonated with us. And I actually got to interview Jaime, who was an animator on the film, and he said that you were amazing to work with. That's kind of one of the reasons he picked the project. So
that's sure nice.
And I guess my last question for you would be, if you had to pick a scene or that you do, which would be your favorite one that you did?
There's boy, it's hard to pick just one. There's a scene where I really like the comedy scene where Jim Rath's character Prince Average has a showdown with Snow and the Dwarfs fake castle that they build, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's got action to it. There's a lot of comedy in it. There's a lot of rich character in that. And so that whole sequence right there is, to me, the perfect thing what a movie be about, because it has so many different elements to it in relationship, like I said, action, adventure. There's a big fight scene that happens there. There's a lot of comedy that has a little bit of everything I like. So I also like the little small moments. There's a great scene where Chloe and Sam Claflin's character Merlin as a dwarf are having their, really heartwarming, and it's just the two of them, and it's a really quiet moment. And I remember working with the actors to try and really get the emotions across and the feelings about, Chloe had a particularly great role because she had to sway back and forth between, understanding that she was falling in love with the dwarf version of Sam Claflin's Merlin, even though he thought she was falling in love with him because of who the human version of him. And so there was a lot of play in that. And we had a lot of conversations, Chloe and I, about, am I talking about who he is now, or am I talking about who I think he is, or, that was an impactful scene also. I don't know. There's quite a few of them that I can think of that I love.
There is. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for giving me some time. I really appreciate it, and I admire your interview. So thank you.
We'll get together again sometime, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much.
All righty.
All right. Bye-bye.